the Summer Slide or Summer Soar, how to keep your business goals thriving this summer and beyond, because a lot of the work that you're going to do this summer is going to help you so much come the fall. So, for those of you who don't know me, my name is Jen Lafine. I am the founder of the Goal Getter Solutions and the Goal Getter Framework. I'm currently working on my book about the Goal Getter Framework. I know G will be happy to hear that. I help ambitious leaders and small business owners set and achieve their growth goals without drama. So I specialize in accountability and in success mindset. I am the host of the Flight School podcast, and I've been working with goal setters for about 15 years. Prior to doing this work, I was a fourth grade teacher. So I love teaching. I love doing webinars and a chance to help people move themselves forward. So if you don't mind, in the chat, well, let's get started. What tends to happen to your business goals in the summer? If you wouldn't mind sharing, um, what ha tends to happen to your business goals in the summer? It'll just give us a little bit of a baseline for where we're going today. Push it off till August. Thank you, Lisa. That was something that I got stuck in that trap of hold it till August when the first couple of years after I left teaching, because there was always like that summer break. So I was still kind of in summer break mode. Yep, having kids, get back to school, taken over by family needs. Yes, thank you, Heather. Thank you, thank you. Anyone else care to share? I've never taken time off, so I can't speak to it, but I look forward to learning today. Excellent. All right, G. Prep stuff for the fall, winter. Anna, that's great to hear. Wonderful. All right, so let's move forward. Thank you for sharing what is going on in your business tends to happen in the summer. So I want to start off by talking about something called the summer slide. And you may have noticed me talking about this in my content recently. And what the summer slide is, it's actually a phrase or a term that came with me from my days in education. And in the school setting, summer slide is referred to the amount of learning loss that students get between the last day of school and the first day of school. So that time during the summer when they are not in the classroom, not having conversations, not practicing math, not reading on a regular basis. What the science has found is that students tend to lose about 2 months of their learning time over the summer just from being on vacation. So when students come back to school in the fall, like let's say September, they actually are not at a June, like where they left in June, but they are at 2 months prior to that. So what is that, April? So they come back to school in September and they're actually at an April level of where where they had left. What happens, and the problem with that is not only have they regressed in their learning, but you end up spending the first couple months of school getting students caught up, reviewing information that they already knew so that we can bring that learning back to them. That puts them at a disadvantage because if the entire first quarter of the school year is spent catching them up, when does that time get made up? Because the things that they're supposed to learn in the first quarter of school then tends to get pushed into second quarter. And so you can see like the cumulative effect of what happens here. The same thing can happen in your business. If you are someone who goes on vacation from your business over the summer, or you feel yourself incredibly unmotivated to work, that is going to put you in at a disadvantage come fall, and we don't want that to happen to you. So I want to share some interesting statistics about the truth about summer's effect on business. And the research shows us that there's a 10 to 25% drop in client responsiveness in the summer. So it's not just you taking a break, your clients tend to take a break as well. Okay. Email open rates decline about 10%, and workplace productivity drops 20%, and distractions rise 45%. So, what are some of those distractions? Vacations, holidays, family, beautiful weather, kids at home, changes in routine and habits. Those things all come up and can be distractions trying to keep you from doing your work during the summer months. You have spent the last 9 months, so since last September, building momentum for your business. I do not want you to lose it. However, I want you to be able to still have time to enjoy the summer because it's here for such a short amount of time. So that's what we're going to be talking about today is how can you maintain your momentum, but also have some time for a little bit of R&R, fun in the sun, head to the beach, spend time with family, kids, whatever it is that you would like to be doing this summer. I want to talk first about what happens though when we do lose momentum in the summer. Businesses that slow their marketing over the summer, research by HubSpot found that there's a 2 to 3 month lag in fall recovery. So right there is your summer slide, right? It takes you 2 to 3 months in the fall to catch up what you missed out in your marketing efforts over the summer if you didn't do them. Forrester has found that it takes 6 or more weeks to re-engage sales leads. So if you're not going out and talking to your ideal customers and keeping top of mind, it could take them 6 or more weeks to re-engage with your efforts when you come back in the fall. Also, Forrester found that sales pipelines shrink 30% over the summer when your outbound activity slows. So those are some pretty sobering statistics, I think. So let's talk about the flip side. What happens when you keep your momentum? And when I'm talking about momentum, I want to be very clear that what I am talking about is that you keep showing up and doing important needle moving activities. And we're going to talk about those in just a minute. It does not mean staying at the same level that you would be, say, during the winter. Okay, so we'll talk about that in just a second. But here are some of the effects of keeping your momentum. Research has shown that there's a 15 to 20% higher Q4 conversion rate because you're staying top of mind while your competition who is taking the summer off is going quiet. They drop in top of mind. You also can experience a 32% increase in inbound leads come September because you have been keeping your audience warm. Also, you will outperform peers' annual growth by 20%. I think that's significant. That's 1/5 of an advantage over your competitors. And if you are someone who works with businesses, research for awarding Q4 contracts begins in August. If your potential clients are online looking for you in August and you're nowhere to be found, you're going to miss out on some pretty significant business come Q4. Okay. So, what is that key to summer success? It is being strategic about how you want to spend your time in the summer. And what I suggest you do is that you spend time on results focused tasks. So let's talk about what those are. And I refer to these, and you may have seen in my content, talking about them as busy versus productive tasks. What a busy task is when you do all the things, even when the results aren't on target. These would also include things that aren't necessarily related to your end goal, whether that is increasing revenue, or for some people, it could be finding a job, okay, taking on new clients. The focus for busy activities is on activity, it's on filling your time. This is the mindset of, I would say, like an employee where you have to put in 40 hours in a week. And so sometimes you feel like you have to fill that with being busy. Okay. On the other hand, are your productive tasks. These are the things that we do that move the needle in our business forward. They drive us towards revenue, they drive us towards clients. The focus is on getting results. Okay, so let's talk about again, I'll give you some examples here about what busy tasks are. Busy tasks are the ones that feel easy to you. Okay, they feel easier, I should say. They don't stress you out. You don't tend to want to avoid them as much. So, what are some examples? Maybe checking your email quite often, like every 15 minutes, having your email open on your desktop all the time and being accessible, 24 hours a day. Sitting in free webinars, including this one, without an intent of following through. Okay, if you're not going to do something with it, why are you there? Tweaking your website, your LinkedIn bio, your branding, fixing those little things, watching videos without taking action. Again, learning without action is a busy activity. Commenting on LinkedIn posts without having a strategy and scrolling through social media in the name of research that you're not actually going to do anything with it is a busy task. On the other hand, productive tasks are those ones that feel harder. They feel more uncomfortable. They're maybe a little bit more difficult. They could be ones that you try to avoid. Okay. For example, following up with leads, making offers, outreach to connect with past clients, actually sitting down and writing your nurture or sales sequence. And I will say, shout out to Lisa Klein, who's here, she is amazing at that. So if you need help with that, get in touch with Lisa. Prepping for and hosting a webinar or a workshop, that is a productive task. Creating a high value lead magnet. Again, Lisa is great at that. Recording videos for an online class. Like if you've got a course in mind of something you want to offer, productive is actually sitting down and doing the work of figuring it out, recording the curriculum, and putting it out into the world. And finally, networking with intention. And this could be something like referral partners and or clients. I think a lot of people misunderstand networking and see it as a box to check. Like, oh, the experts told me I should network and go to networking meetings. And so check, I've done that. But it's just filling time in your calendar. It's not actually being used productively. So busy tasks eat up your time. And according to a study by entrepreneurs report that they lose 1.5 hours a day to busy tasks that do not directly move their business forward. And I almost think from my experience of working with entrepreneurs and goal setters, that number is low. I think there is a lot more time that goes towards the busy tasks. Okay. And I do see there are some comments in the chat, which I will get to here in just a second. So if you have questions that come up, feel free to throw them in the chat. So here's where I want you to reflect. Look at your to-do list today. Would you say that the things that you have on your to-do list are busy or productive in general? Do you have some productive things on there? All right. I'm just going through the comments here. Showing up and not losing steam, you definitely have a competitive edge, G, and I'm going to talk about that here at the end as well. All right, playing on Canva. Yes, Anna, Canva is my rabbit hole as well. So, G, guilty of the LinkedIn stuff with tweaking your profile to ensure best positioning. Exactly, exactly. So, thank you for those comments and contributions to the conversation. So, I hope that if you are looking at your to-do list for today, that you do see some productive tasks on there. You're probably also going to see quite a few of those busy tasks, those easier tasks, those things that kind of run your business in the background. Okay. Those are necessary as well. But when you go through an entire day and all you've gotten done are the busy things, you may wonder why. And for that, my answer is you need to blame your ancient ancestors. Why is that? Because we have a carryover from our ancient ancestors called our primal brain. Our primal brain is a tiny part of our brain that is actually very, very similar to the brain that our primal ancestors had, our prehistoric ancestors. And if you think about life back in the prehistoric days, millions of years ago, it was very different. And so the brain had to be different. It had to constantly look out for danger. It had three goals for our primal ancestors. It wanted them to stay safe, stay alive, and stay lazy. And so it would use things in their brain, like their thoughts and their emotions, as a way of keeping them safe, alive, and lazy. It had to, because if it didn't, we wouldn't be here today because those ancestors would have done something that would have risked their lives. Okay. The primal brain, even though we have evolved and we're no longer living in caves, we still carry a tiny part of that through the evolution of our brain. Okay. And that primal brain that is still in us today fears change and it still fears risk. And it doesn't understand that our environment is totally different now from back when we lived in caves. Okay. It sends us self-doubt as a way of keeping us safe, alive, and lazy as well. Self-doubt is the tool that it uses, and it uses this to keep us in what I call our comfort cave. All right. So it sends us things like self-doubt to keep us in our comfort cave doing busy tasks. And these are what I call the six self-doubt roadblocks. These are its favorite tools to use. It will send us procrastination, perfectionism, comparison, confusion, imposter fear, and shoulds. And so if you are ever thinking of doing, like, let's say one of those productive tasks and you kind of all of a sudden you're like, oh, maybe not, chances are very good that you have run into one of these self-doubt roadblocks. That is compliments of your primal brain. Your primal brain wants you to stay in your comfort cave where it is going to keep you safe and where everything stays the same. So anytime you're going to be thinking about doing something that is going to move your business forward, it is going to make your primal brain nervous and it's going to send you self-doubt. Busy tasks do not involve as much danger for the primal brain because there's no growth, really. They're just occupying your time. They're running in the background. Okay. Those productive tasks, however, risky according to the primal brain because you could be growing your business that is going to bring you to new opportunities, new experiences, and that makes the primal brain very, very, very nervous. Okay. But what I want you to do this summer is I want you to remove many of those busy tasks that you have in your to-do list. Those things in the background, the tweaking, the constant responding, the learning just for learning's sake. I want you to kind of put those on the back burner until fall. And I want you to focus on your productive tasks. These are your strategic tasks. And what that's going to do is it's going to leave you more time for fun in the sun while you are still showing up and making momentum in your business because you are spending whatever time you're dedicating to your business on your productive tasks. And so, how can you do that? It's quite simple. A tool I use with my clients is we talk about the Pareto principle. And this is sometimes you might hear it referred to as the 80-20 rule. Okay. And what is the Pareto principle? It says that 80% of your results come from 20% of your efforts. We would think it would be flipped. So I'm going to say it again. 80% of your results come from 20% of your efforts. Your 20%, the ones that are giving you results, are found in your productive tasks, not your busy ones. Isn't that great news? So, what are your 20% tasks? Figuring these out are your key to both summer fun and summer success. It is going to open up so much time for you. You're going to feel accomplished. You're going to be able to maintain the momentum in your business. You're going to get things done. You're going to stay top of mind, and you're going to come back in the fall ready to take on all of the things that you do regularly, and you're going to feel refreshed and renewed. It's going to be amazing. So how do you find your 20%? This is what I want you to take notes on. Okay. I want you to list all the things you do in your business. Okay. Just take a pen and a piece of paper and create yourself a list. And then once you have that list, I want you to put it into three groups. You're going to take each task and you're going to put it in one of three groups. The first group, those are your high productive tasks. These lead you to a direct line to revenue or to your ultimate goal. So examples would be pitching a sale, sending out a consult, making a proposal. Okay, that would be group one. Group two would be those tasks that are a supportive line to revenue, such as creating a lead magnet. Okay. And then the third thing, the third category for your ta daily tasks are those that are not directly tied to revenue. These would be things like tweaking your website, just commenting on LinkedIn without a plan. Okay. So you take all of your activities and you're going to categorize them. One, direct line. Two, supportive. Three, not directly tied to revenue. Okay. And then what you're going to do is you're going to um, figure out, well, I'll get to that in just a second. Because at first, I want to address something that your primal brain may be trying to tell you right now. And your primal brain is probably trying to tell you everything you do is important to revenue or to your ultimate goals. That is not true. You're going to need to make decisions and figure out what that category one activities are because that is what you're going to be focusing on this summer. So in the chat, could you please share one of your regular tasks that you think is productive? I want to make sure that your primal brain isn't playing a trick on you and making you think that something that you're doing is more important than it actually might be for the summer. So, what is something that you think that you are doing or need to do that you would consider being in that productive task, being a number one? Yes, prospect outreach, so important, Anna. Thank you for adding that. And while we're waiting for everybody else, I'm in the chat reading. G, you said sales and prospecting. That is so important to continue to grow. It is definitely uncomfortable, but remember, your primal brain is telling you it's more uncomfortable than it actually is. So daily LinkedIn engagement, but I know prospect outreach is important. I'm just not sure I want to do it daily. So G, is there a way that you could hammer away at it, even if you're only doing one outreach a day until you get that momentum and get over that hump of being uncomfortable doing it? That might be a
Yes.
suggestion for you.
Yes. Yeah. I don't know. Should I speak or
Yeah, you can speak.
hey, Jen, can I tell you why? Can I give some really quick context to this and where I'm at? Because I don't know if this might help a little bit. But very long story short, I'm still newer in building my business. I was laid off 2 years ago, and it's depressing to think that 2 years ago, like from then to now, I'm not further along business wise, but I've been doing a lot of other things to kind of position me to where if people reached out to me, they can see me type thing. But the prospecting scares me. I just got done talking about a situation yesterday where I had 3 cold pitches from people that just turned me off to pitching and sending the nice, lovely DMs and all the stuff that we're supposed to do. Like that's where my headspace is at right now. And I literally just got off that call just before I got onto this. So this is the stuff that scares me. I wrote my newsletter, my third newsletter edition, which was a hard thing I tackled a few months ago, third edition today. And I talked about the hard things I've done. And then right after that, I jumped into this other call and I almost fell apart. I'm like this right now. So that's a little bit of me just for some context. But the prospecting, if I could hire someone to do it for me and find me leads, I would do it in a heartbeat. Like if I could do that, I don't like getting into people's DMs and the whole, oh, I'm thinking of you. Like, I don't know. So that's where I'm at. So I don't know if anyone else has similar feels. I don't know how everyone's thriving, but I'm just full disclosure. That's where I'm at. So I'm done speaking.
Gee, crack me up. Back to your clubhouse days. All right. So, G, first of all, you are not alone. All right. So, Heather even put it in the chat. You are not alone, G. That is something sales is very risky, right? If you think even from a primal brain standpoint, you're putting yourself out there. You fear it could be rejection. And if you think about what rejection was like for our ancient ancestors, right? If you get kicked out of your group, out of your social circle, out of your clan, what or whatever have you, it could mean death for you to have to be alone. You would have no food, you'd have no shelter, you'd have nobody to help you move when the ice age came through. Okay. So it is a primal, biological, I think, fear for a lot of people. But if you look at people who are successful at sales, they are showing you what's possible, right? And so perhaps find somebody who's very good at sales and study them and use them almost as a mentor and as a vision of what's possible for you. Okay. And then the other thing too, and G, I know you're on my email list, but on July 1st, I sent out my daily progress tracker. That might be a good tool to use, which I can, if anybody wants it, throw your comment in the, like, let me know in the chat and I'd be happy to send it to you. That would be a way that you could, instead of making it like this big thing, you could just chip away at it daily. And when you start to see your progress on a daily basis, it's going to get a lot easier because you're going to show your primal brain that there's really nothing to fear. Okay.
And Jen, may I say, I loved your post that you did. I remember seeing your posts about how far you came with X number of words for your book and like
Yeah.
the progress, the weight loss. Thank you for sharing that with us because that was huge. I remember seeing that recently. So thank you.
Thank you. Yes, that's the
Yes.
tracker I'm talking about. So if anybody
Yeah.
wants it, I'd be happy to share it if you didn't get it. Okay, so let me go back here out of the chat. Thank you for sharing that, G. All right. So what are the strategies that I'm going to be using for summer success? Because I'm in this with you guys. I want to enjoy my summer. We just moved last fall. We moved into like a townhome. We have a golf course here. We have a pool that I want to be able to spend time with. But I want to make sure that come fall, I am ready for all the business that's coming my way. And I want to pick up business this summer too. So I need to make sure that I am focused on those productive tasks. So the first thing that I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be time blocking my calendar. And I know, G, I don't have you up on my screen right now, but I'm sure you're probably smiling about this. I am a huge fan of time blocking. And how time blocking works is you create a template of your week of when you plan to work and when you plan to rest. And then every Sunday or Monday morning, you go and you fill in the template with the tasks you need to do that week. Okay. It is super effective. It is super important. And I think it's something that a lot of goal setters don't do is they say they want to do something, but they don't set aside a specific time to do it. Okay. So time blocking is number one. Number two, I'm going to batch my tasks. And what I mean by that is I'm not going to be on email 24 hours a day. I will check it in the morning and I will check it maybe at lunch and I'll check it at the end of the day. I'm not going to keep going back and forth. That is a busy task. I want to make sure that that time is productive. Also, when it's time for me to work on, like, let's say my emails for my funnel, I'm going to make sure that I'm doing them at the same time. I'm not going to be stopping and starting. You guys, we lose so much energy and brain bandwidth with the switching, the constant switching, the code switching. Okay, it's exhausting. Use that time to hang out at the pool instead. Okay, I'm going to use something called a Pomodoro timer because this is a tool that helps me get focused. Pomodoro timer, if you're not familiar with it, is a 25-minute timer that you can install on your computer. Some people actually have the tomato timer that they can set on their desk. But you set this timer for 25 minutes, and when the timer goes off, you have a 5-minute break. Okay. But the rule is during that 25 minutes, you are focusing on one thing. You are writing a proposal. You are researching who to pitch your book to. You are sending outreach emails. Okay. Super important. One thing during a Pomodoro timer. You set an intention for each Pomodoro session. Okay. And there's something called Parkinson's law that says that tasks tend to take the amount of time that we give them. And so, like, G, if you had said, I'm going to use one Pomodoro timer session and I'm going to research who to do outreach to. Okay. You know that when that timer goes off, then you're done with it for the day. All right. So that's another little trick. But I love using a Pomodoro timer. My clients use them all the time. They set a goal for themselves of how many Pomodoro timer sessions they want to do a week. They do this on their own. I don't even need to tell them because they know how effective it is. Okay. Number four, I'm going to set and protect my boundaries, both with work and with fun. I don't let fun interfere when I have time blocked time for work. Okay. If somebody calls me and says, "Hey, do you want to go to the pool today?" I'm going to say, "Yes, I would love to. I'm available after 3 o'clock." Okay. I've got appointments, I've got commitments up until then. But that also goes the other way, meaning I'm going to protect my fun time from work. I'm not going to allow myself to feel any guilt while I'm out enjoying my time away. I'm not going to let myself experience and dive into any guilt or pity parties for myself over the work that I'm missing out on that I could be doing. I'm not going to be sitting at the pool checking email. Okay. I'm going to make sure that those boundaries are firm and I'm going to be fully present in those sessions when whether I'm doing fun time or whether I'm doing work time. Okay. And finally, I'm going to use 3 lists this summer. I'm going to use, because I have to write things down, keeping things in my head is a recipe for disaster. The biggest lie I tell myself is I'll remember what I have to do. Okay. That is not true for me. So I keep 3 lists, but I get very specific on what lists things go on. I have a now list. This is my top priorities. I have a soon list, which is like if I get done with the number one list, the now list, then I can pull something from the soon list. Okay. And then I have a future list. And those are things that I write down that I want to remember and get it out of my head so I don't forget. Keeping these 3 lists will help me prioritize. I never know. I never have to stop and think or be confused over what it is I'm going to be doing today because I've got it there on my list. I need to go to the now list and take care of the tasks there. And when I'm done with that, I can go on to soon. The future list, quite honestly, you guys, it's going to wait until fall. Okay. So, in the chat, would you please tell me what is something you learned today that changed your thoughts about how you're going to run your business this summer? Just share a little learning nugget that you've taken away from our time together so far. And then I want to talk about what your competition's not going to be doing this summer. So, what is something you've learned today that you are going to take back into how you're running your business this summer? Time blocking and batching. Love it, Lisa. Yes, only effective if we uphold our boundaries. You got it. Excellent, Elaine. How much of what I do is busy work? It is eye-opening, isn't it? 3 lists. Excellent. Thank you, Anna, for sharing. Letting go of guilt if I don't get things done and be present in my off time. Oh, Heather, I love that for you. That is so amazing. What a great gift to yourself. Oops. Just hit my light there. Reminder of the timer and also knowing I need to crank out the hard stuff early in the day. Yes, there's so much research around doing that very thing is, what they say, eat the frog or whatever. Do it early in the morning. So I wanted to spend a minute because for those of you who are in business or whatever your goals are, I want to talk about what your competition will be doing this summer. And here are some statistics that I found that is very interesting. 68% of small business owners say it's harder to stay focused during the summer months due to distractions. Okay, those distractions that we mentioned at the beginning. And I can tell you that there is a really good chance that if you are considering taking the summer off, they are considering taking the summer off, but they're not sitting here coming up with a system of how they can actually still be productive in the summer and have some fun. So there's a really good chance your competition is going to be slowing their roll for the summer. Okay. Maybe even stopping it. 44% of entrepreneurs admit to feeling less motivated to work on their businesses in the summer. I mean, that's a huge number. And when they're not feeling it, chances are they're not going to be doing it. Okay. This leaves tremendous opportunities for those of you who will show up, even in a slower capacity. I think the message I want to get across to you today is yes, it is possible to have the best of both worlds. Okay. You can be productive and you can still have plenty of time off using the skills and strategies that I taught you today. So let's review. How can you make your summer easier? One, find your 20% and focus there. What are those things that are on your number one list? What are those things that are on your priority revenue generating goal progress tasks? That's what I want you to focus on this summer. I want you to time block your calendar. Okay, because you've got to schedule time for these things. And like G said, earlier in the day is so much better. Don't give your primal brain time to wake up and figure out that you're actually doing something productive. Okay, outsmart it by working earlier in the day. And then just imagine how great you're going to feel going through your whole day, knowing you've already got wins in your bucket, right? I want you to maintain momentum. And this, you guys, is going to make fall so much easier for you. I shared those statistics earlier about how hard it is to get going. That's your competition. Your competition is going to be spending September and October and possibly even November making up for the lost time that they missed out on this summer, but not you. Okay, so I want to help you. As you guys know, this is like my passion is helping people make a plan. And so I want to help you make your summer plan together. And so I want to invite you on June 25th. I'm going to be holding a summer strategy accelerator where we are going to do time blocking together, and we are going to get really drilled down on that 20% so that we make sure that the things that are on that list for you are going to be the needle movers for you. You don't have to do this alone. Okay, I am great at this. This is like, I totally geek out over this stuff. And then once we have that 20% plan, what we're going to do is we're going to have the time blocked calendar so that you can actually fill that in every week. You're going to come into your workspace every day knowing exactly what it is you need to do. And then when the work is done, you get to go play and you get to do it and not feel guilty. And you're going to be able to enjoy your time this summer so much better. So, this is something that I'm offering right now only to webinar attendees and viewers because we had quite a few people sign up who said they couldn't attend live. So, that is why I'm recording it and sending it out this afternoon. But I want to offer this to you guys first. And I don't want you to think about it because if you think about it, your primal brain is going to tell you, oh no, you don't need to do that. This Summer Strategy Accelerator, you guys, it is $99. It is so cheap for the amount of progress that you are going to be making. Do yourself a favor and get yourself registered. And if you are one of the first 5 registrations in the next 24 hours, I have a special bonus for you. What I'm going to be doing for those first 5 registrations is I'm going to be offering you a free 30-minute one-to-one check-in call with me in July. So why July? Because July is the messy middle of the summer. Okay, July is when you're going to start thinking about maybe not showing up for yourself. And I'm going to be there with you in a 30-minute session to help you get back on track. You guys, it is a win-win. So I'll put a link here in the chat of where you can register. I really hope that you will get yourself on that list. Be one of the first 5 people within the next 24 hours so your primal brain doesn't talk you out of it. And I would love to be able to help set you up for success this summer. All right, are there any questions from anyone? Oh, yes, so worth it for the one-to-one. It is ridiculously cheap because I want everybody to have this tool in their back pocket. Your competitors don't have this advantage, you guys. Okay. All right. Are there any other questions before we hang it up for today? All right. You guys, the summer is yours. We are like on the cusp. We're 10 days into June. Go sign up for the workshop. Let's get you organized. Let's get you planned. Let's get you set up for success for the fall. If you have questions, I will be following up later today with an email I'll be sending out in case you needed to rewatch the video. And I'll also put the link in there to sign up. And I'm always just an email or a LinkedIn message away. All right. All right. Thank you so much for being here today, everybody. It was so good to see you all, and I will talk to you all soon. Bye-bye.